certain places, it's
When
hurts.
you're in town, you see it's only black people lining up to board the taxi. You don't see why. It's like, okay, what's going on here? It's like the black work for the whites. I don't know. I don't want to be
Oh,
attacked, but that's just what
you've
I
seen it
see.
too, right?
Yeah, like I said, these guys are still young. Sometimes that's why I like them. I like their energy. That's a lot what I like about them. But the transport system in South Africa, I think, is one of the best. It's easy. Uh, it's easy to come in. But again, in any country, there's a system they use for transportation. So in South Africa, we use taxi, what they call in East Africa, they call it matatu. It's the same system in East Africa. And actually, in most countries in Europe, they use trains. Here in South Africa, we do have trains, but not that much. So even in Kenya and Nigeria, they just put trains. So the taxi thing is just an easy to use. It's not about color or anything. Those taxis are in a very good standard. So I think I don't really see a problem. Like some people, they leave their cars, they take a taxi. It's a normal thing in South Africa. So I don't really see any problem there.
Yes, and this is.
I mean, like
Yeah, they're
you
talking too
walk around
much.
the neighborhoods, the mansions. I mean, maybe come. I think maybe Mr. Lawrence can tell us better. Go forward a bit, Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question. Mr. Lawrence, you live in Victoria.
Yeah.
I just want to know. I mean, I've been in Victoria for 4 days now, and I don't even want to do any video. You know why?
Why?
Because I feel like this is not a black city.
Here you can really feel Wodemaya dragging the guy, like really get the dirt. You understand? It's really like digging, but in a nice way. So, but he's really digging for the dirt. Nothing positive, just negative.
Yeah, Pretoria is predominantly white.
But why is it like that?
I think it's because also Pretoria is safer than Joburg, so you got a lot of the whites preferring to stay here than in Joburg.
So which means that.
So there's a
I think also the misunderstanding. Yeah, I don't know where the mine was in Joburg. Like Joburg Central is very busy. It's not a suburban. It's a market where every people from the world, like that's what they trade. Like every African country, like everyone is there. So there's a lot of things going on. It's very busy. Like where he is now, excuse me, it's a suburban area. So ain't no business going on there. It's just like that's why it's quiet. That's why everyone will feel safe and quiet there. So
there's a big population of white South Africans living in Pretoria, and yeah, it's kind of like so different to Joburg, yeah, in terms of.
So which means the place where black people live is not really safe.
I like the taxi guy here. He was very calm and like really trying like to give me a picture, but because he will not see that, because he's only interested in like in a negative things. So, but the taxi guy, I think here he was good.
I wouldn't say that. It's the depends, but
You can see here, Wodemaya actions like it's kind of like losing interest because he's not getting what he wants to get from this guy. So it's kind of like losing interest now.
you find a lot of crime in both areas. But I think in the black areas, like it's not really reported. Yeah, so there's a lot of crime happening there. Then maybe the news doesn't bring it out. Then in the white
See that's what happened now. He's really like losing interest because he's not getting what he wants to get. You understand? So he's losing interest from this guy.
areas, like for example, if like a child is kidnapped or there's a burglary, it's on the news. Like everyone's going to know about it. Like 'cause they're so cautious of security. Yeah. Wow. So like if you look around in the neighborhoods, you just see security signs like on.
This guy what he's trying to explain here, is true. He's really like really being nice and try to explain to him like to make him understand how South Africa work. What happens in South Africa is I think it's like any country. Any country they have their own system for security. Like in South Africa, we use fences. They like people, they like their space, they like privacy. Even in villages, you find people they have fence and everything everywhere. Villages, towns, so people they have fence. And like for more security, you find that people they will have there are companies who you can pay them monthly for security. In East Africa, what they do, people they use the windows. they have like a big window, but you will have like those small spaces where you can't even put your head in. So this is a kind of security, it's kind of security which they use. So each country they have on their own way of doing things. So I think in South Africa that's how we do things for security.
Every wall, like, you know.
And I've also seen that like life in Pretoria is kind of laid back. I mean, people really. I feel so safe in Pretoria than when I was in Joburg. And
Because Pretoria is safe, because not that it's safe, but like it's not like Joburg South where everyone's there, universities are there, businesses there. Pretoria is a bit like more quiet, and where he is, it's a suburban area.
Yeah,
yeah, you think so too?
most definitely. Pretoria is like so cool. It's so laid back. You don't really have that congestion.
You see, that's where he's interested. You see when he's moving from the car, because he want to show there's a one white person. The street is quiet, so that's where Wodemaya interested to show negative parts about South Africa.
What you find in Joburg.
So
You know what I'm
who
saying?
owns the wealth of?
You see, again, he's going back to the world.
But I can still say like
The guy, I'm sure he doesn't know nothing about the world. He probably focus on his work and like listen or hear the news, but like, who cares, man? Who knows who owns the world? We take what they tell us on news. We can never really find the truth.
90% of the economy is being run by the white minority.
And do you think there's any way to empower black people in India?
Again, yeah, to empower black people in South Africa, there's so many systems, man. Like, yeah, I've been to many countries. I wish they can even introduce a system. There's so many systems. Like, there's so many hubs. There's so many like government support. There's so many people who are interested in investing in people. If you want to make it here, you will always make it. So it's not everyone who's gonna make it.
Well, I believe that the leadership in the country have got a big role to play because they've had many chances to address that problem, you know, through the so-called black economic empowerment programs they had where
Man, yeah, I really like the taxi guy. He really tried his best, man. He's a taxi man, but like he really tried his best to make this guy understand.
were allowing blacks to participate in the economy through tenders and things like that. But it was only being benefiting the rich elites, and then the others wouldn't fit into that category because they asked them for too many requirements which they wouldn't have for you to be registered to get a tender. So it's
Again, he's talking about what he attenders like. He doesn't even know the system how it works. So
there's a lot of work that the government has to do. Like for example, even empowerment with land and things like that. There's a lot of talk about it, but
like this guy, he lives in a city. I'm sure like probably even his family don't own any land. But it's talk about land because land everyone talk about is on the news, but people who can understand that people who own lands. So people who just saw like this thing of land, why people have to return land. They don't really understand the system behind the thing. How does the system work? People who can understand that there's people who own land. Like this guy live in the city, so he don't know all those things.
you find that ownership of property, the properties are so expensive that the average black person would take 20, 30 years just to.
Like this guy, what is he talking about? He has no understanding of it. Anybody in South Africa who works, you have a bank statement, a bank account, like as long as you have a proof that you are working, if you qualify for a property, you can buy property. If you don't qualify, you can always get a loan and go build house. People like you do that. So like I don't think like when the way you talk. That's why I don't like to really get deep in these things because they are really unnecessary. So
Own a property, and then the white person, most of the whites in South Africa own properties. Most of them own properties, and
most of them, not all of them.
they're at the upper hand. You see, so the
But when we talk about most, how many white people compared to black people?
economy is kind of like diverse.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lawrence.
All right, cool.
And here, Wodemaya, he didn't really get what he wanted. He's a bit disappointed too.
Bring it up. Right. So I mean, keep walking. You see, just wait for us. Yeah. Make sure you don't show the car number. Yeah. So you heard from Mr. Lawrence. This is what I've observed in here. I mean, I just want all South Africans to come together, unite as one. Just let me know what you think in the